Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of WWE Smackdown vs. Raw 2008 General Manager mode. You're probably thinking, wow, he's finally doing a GM mode, and I'll tell you why in a second. We had a problem with No Way Out, so I'm going to give you a quick rundown of the results of No Way Out. So we had Jeff Hardy defeat Ric Flair for the Cruiserweight Championship. Undertaker defeated Brendan for the... oh, nothing was on the line, so 4-star match up there. Sabu and Sandman, they defended their championships, tag titles against Crime Time. Batista defending his US title in a steel cage fatal 4-way, and Edge, the WrestleMania main eventer, the Royal Rumble winner, he beat Triple H in a parking lot brawl, and I actually didn't think Triple H was going to lose there, so I was a little shocked. Alright, so, okay, we'll talk about that in a moment. Let's get through the SmackDown card for this week's show. So, Crime Time versus Sandman and Sabu. MVP Mark Henry, they're going to have a match one-on-one, so a little bit of a dissension between those two. We'll see how that goes. Fatal 4 between Brendan, King Booker, Undertaker, and Batista. So that should be interesting. Their US champion still is Batista, of course. Jeff Hardy and Ric Flair one-on-one again. And we'll have a tag team match between DX and Rated RKO. I think that might be the first time we've done it here in GM mode. So that should be pretty damn good, I reckon. Alright, so we'll pick the match we want to play. I think we'll play this one, the DX and Rated RKO. That sounds pretty damn good to me. So, okay. What has happened? What did you do to No Way Out? Where is it? What's been the delay? So basically, 2 weeks ago when I was recording my videos, everything was working pretty fine. Everything was doing okay. And then just for some reason, one day, my game capture decided to shit itself. And I lost a lot of footage. A lot of footage I did recorded horribly. And yeah, here I was thinking, okay, it's gonna work. It'll be fine. Like, what's the big deal? It'll be fine. No, it was not. So I went back and I rewatched it, and it's unplayable. You cannot show it. It's literally, it's horrible. It just does not work. It's not salvageable, and unfortunately, I couldn't fix it. I wanted to just go, and I was gonna find a way that I could show these matches, even if it's, you know, just exhibition match. I don't know. I was gonna try and do something, and you know, I kept avoiding it, and I kept avoiding it because I knew that I couldn't do anything about it, and I was frustrated with it. But so I knew that you guys have been wanting the GM mode. I knew you guys are kind of hounding me about it, and I was just disappointed. I was just like, man, I really want to do the GM mode, but I lost No Way Out. I recorded it. It was a pretty damn good show. Went for an hour long, and I was loving it. Yeah, it just didn't work. So, unfortunately, we lost No Way Out. And what happened is that you have to play like the Hall of Fame or something in the game. So I actually don't have No Way Out, the arena, unlocked in the game. And there's a lot of arenas that are locked, and you have to do whatever, and you have to beat the Hall of Fame, whatever, to unlock all the arenas. So I obviously haven't done that, because the only thing I've ever done on this game since I rebought it is play GM mode. So I don't have the Hall of Fame done. So that's really frustrating, really disappointing. So I can't save No Way Out. So what I've decided to do is just ignore No Way Out, just say, okay, we got to move forward, keep going on. I know this is actually going to be our last like SmackDown exclusive pay-per-view, which makes it even worse. Like if it was like a Great American Bash halfway through the series, okay, whatever. But this is like the last pay-per-view that we're going to get. You know, this is the last SmackDown only pay-per-view. So this is really frustrating. This is a big loss. And considering the series is winding down, I wanted to kind of finish it off strong. And yeah, we can't. So it's such a frustrating situation. And since then, I've changed capture cards for the PS4, but I have to still use the same one for the PS3. And I've figured out like a fix for it. Like I figured out how to make it work, but yeah, it's like, it's still, whatever I was doing before was what I normally do all the time. Like I would, you know, I'd use the computer whilst I'm recording, sure, like why not? But now, like if I do anything on the computer whilst I'm recording, like it does not want to work at all. So it's frustrating. It really is frustrating, and I don't know what went wrong, but I tell you what, it cost me some big time, and you know, unfortunately for me, I was able to salvage all the other gameplay, but for, like I said, GM mode, out of the question. And luckily that I didn't record any further than No Way Out. Otherwise, you know, I normally do record quite a lot of GM mode at a time. You know, I could have lost the whole series, so luckily I didn't do that. Imagine if I lost all the way up until like WrestleMania, so that would have sucked. So yeah, so I do apologize big time, guys. I didn't mean for this to happen, obviously, and I hope you guys can forgive me for No Way Out. And we are actually doing pretty well here in GMO. We're close to catching up to ECW and Raw. We're making a bit of a late surge. So things are looking pretty good for us. So hopefully we can keep things going, keep the ball rolling. And, you know, obviously we have a pretty decent roster right now. And everybody's at that 90+ popularity point. Some guys are in the late 80s, but for the most part, we've got our rivalry set in stone for WrestleMania. In the next couple of weeks, these rivalries should be about 2 thumbs up rated. So that will really help our ratings. So we could probably start to pull some 4.5 star rated shows in the next couple of weeks. And if we can keep doing that on a consistent basis, we've got like, I think 5 weeks after this until WrestleMania. So we can have 5 weeks of 4-star plus shows. We could go from being in 3rd place to maybe even getting up to that #1 spot. Of course, depending on how well Raw and ECW do. I mean, they have like 2 matches a week and they get 4.5 rated shows, so whatever. But, you know, we could still make a late surge and maybe even in the end somehow make a huge comeback and claim 1st place. I'll tell you what, I'll be happy with 2nd place. As long as we don't come last, I'm the happy man. So we are making a bit of a late comeback and things are looking pretty good for us. So the ratings are starting to improve for us. You know, we are actually starting to win some weeks. You know, normally we get like 2nd place. Some weeks we do pretty good shows, but we just don't get the results. But now we're starting to kind of pick it up a bit, and we've got a really good foundation set in stone. And, you know, one of the keys to being successful in GMO has always been long-term rivalries. If you've got a lot of rivalries that have been going on for weeks and weeks and weeks, you're going to succeed. You're going to have some damn good rated matches. The only problem with that is you have to do the same matches every single week. So as a viewer, you're going to see a lot of the same shit, and that's pretty boring. But, you know, that's the challenge of GM mode, is to make these long-term rivalries and make them interesting. So that's why you see a lot of tag team combinations from me, a lot of fatal 4-ways, you know, trying to bring in feuds together, but keep the same 2 guys who are going against each other in the same match, and then bring 2 other guys who are going against each other in the same match and kind of bring them together, and then switch that around and rotate around, do that with 6-man tags. You know, you just got to change it up, you know, doing managers. It's a challenge. It really is a challenge to make an interesting GM mode on screen. Like, if you're playing by yourself, no one else is watching, and you're just simulating the matches, you just do the same thing every damn week. You change it up a little bit here and there, change a couple of things, and you got a good show. It's simple as that. But that was really the biggest flaw with GM mode, was that you had to do the same matches every single week. If you missed one freaking week, it was over. That rivalry that you just built up for 8 weeks, it is done, brother. It's done. So that's the big issue with GM mode. And, you know, obviously this is the last time they ever did GM modes. They never really fixed it. But if that was really my only concern, like when I was playing this, what, 7 years ago now? Jesus, a long time. 7 years ago. How old was I? I was a 13-year-old kid or whatever. So I was like, you know, this game is freaking great, but they gotta change this, they gotta change this and change this for the next one. So, you know, if they had made GM mode again, you know, and changed these few things, this game mode would have been freaking flawless, man. Because I always felt the GM mode was the major selling point for these games, and I don't know why they took it out. To me, when they went the route with Road to WrestleMania, was the worst idea ever, because that game mode sucks. I don't care what you say. Road to WrestleMania sucked, and especially from 2000. You know, when I bought 2009, I didn't look into the game at all, because I was a kid. Like, I don't look into the games. I hadn't really gone to that stage where I'm looking for reviews, I'm looking up previews, I'm checking out what's going to be in the game. I just buy the freaking game. I find out when it's coming out and I buy the damn thing. I go and buy the thing, I load it up, and I'm like, hell yeah, baby, here we go, GM mode, let's freaking go. Load it up, no GM mode. And you can just imagine my face as like a 14-year-old kid or something. I was freaking pissed. I was pissed, because here I was, the biggest GM mode fan in the world. The only thing I play in these freaking games is GM mode. Yeah, I did the season mode, which by the way was pretty good, but GM mode was the shit. And then you go from GM mode, and you're like, what the hell do I play in this thing? You play Road to Wrestlemania, you're like, what the fuck is this crap? Like, it was awful. So you can just imagine, like, be the biggest GMO fan, and then you have the biggest disappointment in the world. You know, still baffles me why they changed it, and, you know, that's why I stopped buying WWE games. Like, I stopped watching WWE in 2008, but, you know, I probably would have still kept buying the games if there's still a GM mode in it, because they're fun as hell. But yeah, no GM mode, and that might have contributed to myself falling out of interest with the WWE, because I stopped playing the games, and, you know, I just figured, well, what's the point? Like, I didn't bother. I couldn't actually access WWE, so, like, I wouldn't keep in touch, you know, as well. Like, you know, if I couldn't watch the show, I could still play the games and kind of, like, keep up to date a little bit there. But the games are awful, so I just didn't. So I stopped buying the games, and, you know, it wasn't until, like, WWE 13 that I started to come back into it. So, yeah, I mean, it's just pretty crazy, you know, and you think about it, GM mode, just a summary of the whole series, like, we've played a whole year's worth of GM mode, just about, you know, and we've had a lot of fun. Like, GM mode, for the most part, is a really, really good game mode. Like I said, some flaws in it, but, you know, this is like, for me, I love management games. I really love being able to take control of something and make it my own. And so to have this brand and to have this really tough competition in Raw and ECW, I can take on SmackDown. I can make it my own, make my roster, and then make my own rivalries and try and compete with these shows. It's just a perfect formula. And I guess nowadays there is no Raw versus SmackDown versus ECW. There's no brand split, so you really couldn't make the same style. It just wouldn't make any sense. But certainly back then, especially in this time of the WWE as well, like 2005, 6, 7, and I guess 8 as well, the whole brand split was great. Like, you know, I probably 2004 and 2003 too, but I didn't really watch WWE then. I didn't start watching till 05. But, you know, from those years, like I mentioned, the whole SmackDown vs. Raw thing, that was a real thing for me, at least. You know, I was a kid, I was a Team SmackDown guy. I'm like, fuck Raw, screw ECW. I kind of watched ECW a little bit, because I'm like, well, what's going on here? These guys are hardcore, these guys are pretty cool, and obviously they ruined it. But, you know, I was a Team SmackDown guy, so I was always watching SmackDown. Every time SmackDown and Raw went at each other, I'm a SmackDown guy. I'm not supporting Raw. I'm always on SmackDown, man. We got Batista, we got Undertaker. You guys are screwed. We got this. So I was always SmackDown, so I never played Raw. And the reason why I always play SmackDown in the games as well is because I hate playing with the Divas. Like, you know, with the Cruiserweights, at least you can do something with them. If they get to the point where, like, they're so popular, you know, you want to push them elsewhere. Like, if you want to make them a US champ, a world champ even, you can. Like Rey Mysterio. Like, he's like super high popularity, but if you don't want to make him Cruiserweight champion, you don't have to. But you can if you want to. Like, I always did make Rey Cruiserweight champion, because straight away, you know, you have Rey Mysterio as your Cruiserweight champ, and then all the Cruiserweights are always a hella low popularity. Like, their popularity sucks. So you have a good champion to feud with these lower guys to kind of balance out the ratings in the end. So you always had, like, a good foundation set in stone, whereas Raw, you got the Divas, and what else can you do with the Divas? You have the Divas, and that's it. You got the Divas to face each other, so that takes up 1-2 matches on the card. And you basically have to buy all the Divas. You need, like, a good 6 Divas on the roster, like maybe even 8. Like, you got to get all the Divas on your show to make an interesting Divas division. Otherwise, it's the same thing over and over. You know, which is what I found, and which, when you're looking back as well, probably the big mistake that I had is I didn't make enough tag teams, because we kept having the same tag team feuds over and over. And I guess at the end of it, you know, I wanted to bring in, and I wanted to make Brothers of Destruction, but I felt as though maybe it's just a little bit too late for me to do that. And I figured, well, I'll just let Crime Time and I'll let Sabu and Sandman, you know, fight it out towards the end of it. So I just let that kind of roll on, but I would have brought in more tag teams. So at least with the tag teams you can do that, but if on Raw, you can't do that with the Divas. Like, the only thing you can really do is make them managers. And, like, you know, okay, that might help a little bit. But, you know, you're stuck with these Divas. There's not a lot you can do with them. So the Cruiserweights were always more versatile. So that's why I always went with SmackDown. So, you know, I was always a SmackDown guy anyway, so I was happy. But it was always just fun on these games, just to be able to take control. And, you know, like I said, I love management games. And these games, this is just my cup of tea. And that's why I've always been gunning for a GM mode to make a comeback. Don't think it ever will, but, you know, I think GM mode, they'd have to change it around, obviously, but I still think it could work. You know, so... yeah, I just kind of been on a bit of a ramble there, but yeah, definitely love the GM mode, definitely love this series, and looking back I had a lot of fun with it, and I definitely would love to do an 06 or an 07 series as well. I know that, I think 06 was the first one I started. I probably would go to 06, even though I think 2007 is the best one. I think I would probably go 06 because the roster is a lot different to right now. So 06, the 2 years from 06 to 08, there was quite a big roster change. So I think 06 would probably have a much more versatile and diverse roster compared to 08. And obviously 08 had the problem with the, you know, the 3 brands, so you could have the split, you know, a roster amongst 3 brands, and you could only get like 15 guys a brand. It was pretty lame. So, you know, that was always the big problem with this game as well. So 06 and 07 obviously don't have that problem. So, like, I always liked playing with Kurt Angle, Benoit, Jericho, that roster on 06. I always liked that one. I always loved getting Kurt Angle. You know, he was always one of my top guys I had to get. You know, I always felt Kurt Angle always put on good matches, and I was always at the top. You know, he was always one of my champions. As there you go, Edge and Randy Orton win, so Rated RKO get the victory over DX. Just want a bit of a ramble, guys, I don't know. But I hope you guys have been enjoying the GM mode, and I do once again apologize for No Way Out being non-existent at this point. And, you know, hopefully things don't screw up again. Hopefully we're smooth sailing from here. I will have one more GM mode coming out later on this week, probably. And then it might be a little bit of delay until another episode after that, because I'm currently don't have my PS3 on me right now. But after that, when I come back and when I get my PS3, I'll do another GM mode. I want to finish off the series, get Wrestlemania done, finish it off strong. I know you guys have been waiting. This series has been going on forever, and I've been super lazy with it, but I want to finish it. So Sandman and Sabu, they knock off Crime Time. Mark Henry defeats MVP as well. Batista wins Fatal 4. He pinned Brendan. And Ric Flair, the Nature Boy, defeats Jeff Hardy. So there you go. We'll go ahead and have a quick look at how the other brands did this week. So Raw, 3.5 star rated show. ECW, the same. How do we go? 4-star, baby. We're going to get some fans this week. So pretty solid. Every match did pretty good in the end. That's a really, really good week. ECW had their pay-per-view this week as well. Some contracts we need to re-sign, get that sorted. But damn, man, we are making some ground. We are covering up some ground. You know, we're really making a bit of a comeback here. I'm digging it. I'm really happy with the progress we're making. Better late than never, right? Like, you know, we spent the whole series behind, and so to finally look as though we might eclipse second place, that's very, very relieving, trust me. So if you guys enjoyed today's episode, you gotta hit me with a like, and if you want to subscribe to see the last few episodes of GM mode and some more GM mode, perhaps in a new game coming up in the future, you gotta hit that subscribe button. There you go. There's our rivalry. So in a week or so, some of those will be at the 2 thumbed up rated. That was the champions. That's what we have right now as well. So just kind of running through everything. And there you go, our fan rated situation. How are we doing? Oh, man, come on. You gotta give it to us, man. 10,000 viewers behind ECW. Can we do it for next week's show? Let me know in the comment section down below everything you thought about today's episode, and which GM mode was your favorite? I think they had 05? I don't know. 06, 07, or 08. That's the ones I care about. Which one of those out of those 3 were your favorite? Let me know in the comment section down below. I'd love to hear your thoughts and opinions. And of course, if you enjoyed today's video, hit the like button, subscribe, and gotta follow me on Twitter. 50 followers away from 1,000 followers. Help me get there. So guys, thanks so much for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed the GM mode, and I'll see you all next episode.